often do not have a high school education, and many of them don't have a middle school education. There was a woman who was interviewed on NPR. She did StoryCorps Atlanta, and I don't know how many of you ever listened to that, but she was talking about being the daughter of migrant workers, and they were here, they were documented, they came legally, but they moved every 6 months as the crops rotated, she had to move. So she never completed high school, and her parents had never even been to school. And then when she went back and looked at her report cards, as an 11th grader, she was taking an AP class and she had straight A's. But no one ever said to her, you can go to college, you need to stay in school. She just gave up. So we can see that when your parents don't have that schooling, it's another strike against you. They may have, and they probably brought you here because they want you to have better opportunities, better chance, but there's only so much they can do. If they haven't been to school and maybe they don't even read or write, there's only so much they can help you with. So, what we want to do is change the outcomes. Get the children to stay in school. That's the most important message that we can give them. And how do we compare to ASP as an after-school program? So how does Path to Shine compare to a typical after-school program? And we put the volunteers first. We don't start until we have the volunteers, which is, the process and that Bryn and Carol and Pastor Zane and I talked about, that you need to find the volunteers first. It's not get the children and then scramble to find the volunteers. It's find the volunteers first and then find the children to ensure that you have small ratios and small groups of children. And because we're working with small groups, typically about 15 to 20, you get to know the families. And then you can start some advocacy at the school. So-and-so, you know that someone doesn't have food, and you hear that the school's got a Thanksgiving basket drive, food drive, and so you might be able to put in a word to the counselor. The mom doesn't have transportation, and she's got a baby, and so she can't go to the school conference. So you find out, and you go and take that mother to the school conference. There's lots of things you can do once you know the families, and that's the gift of having a small program. If you've got 100, 200 kids in the program, you can't do those things. So you really get to build the relationships, and it's a good thing. All right, so being a good volunteer, we're going to look at what the expectations are for being a good volunteer. We're going to talk a little bit about listening. We're going to talk about boundaries, and then we're going to make sure everyone knows about the paperwork. So the number one volunteer expectation is to make a commitment to being at the program. These children often have very little